Good teachers can be very successful at helping students learn, particularly when they're willing to learn alongside their students. Yet all of us, whether we want it or not, whether we're aware of it or not, are always teaching something. And what we're teaching is who we are, how we behave, what principles we practice. So if we truly believe that we would like our students to be lifelong learners, a phrase we repeat constantly, it is essential that we continue our own learning and that we share with our students our own learning process, including what we're learning about them, from them, and with them. Sharing with our students what we're learning, not only about the content we are presenting, but also about the teaching-learning process itself, models those metacognitive skills that are often included as a learning objective, yet are seldom truly taught. If we would like to see our students become engaged readers, it will be helpful to share with them the excitement that books bring into our own lives. It only takes one sentence to convey that we're intrigued, fascinated, surprised, or even troubled by something we're reading. Yet if this sharing is frequent and authentic, it will convey a living message of how reading for pleasure can be an important part of people's lives. If we believe in the power of language, in the value of bilingualism, we can find ways to continually enrich our own knowledge of the language or languages we speak. And when we share the discovery of nuances we had previously ignored, we can proudly use our minority language in contexts where students can see us using these languages. Then we're also encouraging students to use them and to grow in their knowledge of them. If we recognize the connection between language and culture, we can make sure to continue learning about the home cultures of our students, and we can let them know about our own learning process and the value we find in it. When we can acknowledge to our students how much we do not know, and for me, it was the moment I truly began this process of trying to learn to be a teacher, when I was able to look into the eyes of my students and say, I do not know this, and I have been misleading you on making you believe that I know more than I do. But I'm willing to learn, and I want to learn with you. When we can say that to our students, when we can allow them to witness our process of seeking to learn more, they will understand how enriching and liberating lifelong learning can be. We should never be ashamed of what we do not know, but we should always be willing to learn. Yet, yes, students can benefit from the shelter their classrooms provide, but our classrooms cannot be isolated. Students live in the world outside the classroom, and that world has effects on them. What they receive from that protected environment of our classrooms need to then be transformed into strength, courage, determination, confidence, and skills that will allow them to navigate the difficulties of their world. Henry Giroux has pointed out how schools manage to transform a social problem into an individual one. The social conditions of poverty and their constricting effects on young people's possibilities for success are ignored and remain unchecked, as we instead focus on assigning measures of success or failure to individual students, attempting to quantify intelligence, curiosity, creativity, and the spirit of learning, all of that which cannot be reduced to numbers. Students, their family structures, the social conditions that surround them are not equal, yet standardized testing attempts to compare test results as if these conditions were non-existent and did not impact learning. This absurdity becomes extreme when children are tested in languages they're still developing, as when children whose primary language is Spanish and who have not yet developed a level of academic English that would put them on an equal basis with their English-speaking peers are tested in English rather than in Spanish, and I would say adding insult to injury. So the challenges we face are great. Every year NABE offers us the opportunity to recognize those whose life and work provides examples of what can be achieved. Students who write meaningfully about the value of being bilingual. Teachers in whose classes students thrive. Researchers like Jean Garcia was just honored a moment ago, whose work gives support to our practices. Individuals whose significant contributions we celebrate, as we're celebrating in this conference, Lori Olsen and Arnilda Badia. I'm deeply grateful for all their valuable contributions to our field, and would like to share with you, and will do so in a minute, a particular example that has been inspiring to me, and that I believe will be useful to you. If the work we do within our classrooms is going to have any measure of effectiveness, we cannot ignore the world outside the school. And social issues cannot be presented only as issues in the past. We cannot celebrate the March on Washington while ignoring the inequality that exists today. We cannot celebrate Martin Luther King or Cesar Chavez while ignoring the fact that the goals they gave their lives to are far from being reached today. I know that this may sound like a tall order. Engaging in the work of social change is not something we can do on our own, and I encourage you to find among your colleagues those who will join you in solidarity. I also want to offer a resource and a sort of support for bringing more dialogue on social issues into your classroom. One of the most inspiring examples I have seen in education as a tool for social change was witnessing the birth of Rethinking Schools. In 1986, while attending a teachers' union conference in Milwaukee, someone offered me a copy of this newspaper, the first issue. When I read the powerful content, I immediately wanted to know how this humble publication had come about. And I learned that a very small group of bilingual teachers had decided to use their own savings to pay for this publication. They simply told me, we're tired of saying things are not going right, now we're going to do something about it. And as Bob Peterson explained to me, newspapers had been very important in the workers' movement at the end of the 19th century, and they wanted to emulate these efforts. And so this group was willing to publish this newspaper until their funds, their own savings, ran out. They were unwilling to include any commercial ads that could constrain their freedom of thought and expression. It was a vivid example that we can do more than complain about what is wrong with education, that we can take action, that yes, sí se puede. I was not the only one to be impressed by Rethinking Schools, which continues to be published now, 28 years later, as a magazine in print and online, with 7,000 subscribers in all 50 states and 10 Canadian provinces. In 1991, they published their first book, Rethinking Columbus, which has now sold over 300,000 copies. I got this information from them because I wanted to share it with you. Now there are 20 books in print, and all with the same strong focus on social justice and multicultural education. The strength of all Rethinking Schools publication is their authenticity, the value of the content offered, and the fact that all their authors are or have been in the classroom, know firsthand the requirements and burdens that are placed on teachers, and can offer alternative teaching suggestions that are both effective and meaningful. To me, they are a constant source of both inspiration and hope. And I share this with you because I trust they can serve as valuable allies and resources